a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes.
A second? Okay. Minutes.
We got a quorum here, I guess?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, okay. That's-
Okay, I'm gonna do things in a little bit of different order. Actually, but we'll do the fertilizer sure next. Okay, so this was and John has an interesting question, which I also want to ask Meg about. So this is a fertilizer brochure that was a collaboration between the Water Advisory Committee, the Green Committee, meaning me, and it's to accompany the new town code law for fertilizers, which is pretty similar to Suffolk County and New York State, but it adds a little extra one, which I believe is the applying lawn fertilizer to any turf or lawn area within 100 feet of a surface area. So that's different from the Suffolk and New York State laws. So it's all very straightforward. The pie chart's going to be tweaked a little bit. But John is not happy with one section. This will sort of lead to a question, which is about managing irrigation. Excessive shallow watering leads to shallow root growth. In the absence of rain, a lawn should be watered 1.5 inches per week, which John thinks is a lot. So my question to you, Meg, is how do the irrigation systems work when you?
They're typically on a timer, and there's like a specific flow rate for the number of heads that an irrigation system has. So that's how they calculate the amount of water that's dispersed. I think it varies from system to system. I don't think that we actually have, I have to look at exactly what our code says with regard to.
So I guess my question is, when you put in an irrigation system for a new lawn, how long are you allowed to keep that irrigation system?
It's temporary. It should only be for temporary new plantings, or it has to be hooked into a cistern. So
Perfect.
So we can change this out. We don't need to recommend watering.
right.
So this should be maybe, so they're only temporary. So at a certain point, these irrigation systems come out, right?
Right, the permit, if it's a temporary irrigation permit for the establishment of new plantings, I believe it's for 1 year,
Mhm,
typically for just drip irrigation in that area.
mhm.
If you're putting in a whole cistern with an irrigation system, then it also has to have smart technology associated with it. So it has to, read the soil, the moisture content in the soil. If it's raining, it won't turn on. It has all these kind of fail safes so that you only irrigate when necessary
Mhm.
based on the environmental conditions. And that was passed by New York State, and that's kicked off in January, New York State kicks off in
Okay.
January. So
So,
we can leave out exactly how much you should water. I think that, I don't know where the information came from.
it came from multiple brochures and also I think Smart Lawn Island.
Yeah.
So, but we should tweak this.
I think we should remove the second sentence.
Well, we should probably address the fact that what you're allowed to have for a new lawn. And let me think about this.
Well, that's more than one sentence.
Yeah, I know.
Well, let's see.
Just be explicit.
If I may,
Go ahead,
I
John.
would just simply go back to what you just said and just say, manage irrigation should be like maybe further deeper into the brochure, not the first thing, but it would just highlight for, new lawns. So as an example, if I built my house in July and I got to get some grass there, you can't blame people to like water the lawn to get the grass established. Once the lawn is established, there should be no irrigation or sprinkler systems to water lawns on this island.
Well, I think we need to point to the code.
Yeah, maybe point to it, but I don't think we can go in, if we can't get into defining what a short period of time is, in this brochure.
I think
Or-
irrigation is a whole different pamphlet to be, like, there's a lot to it, so maybe,
So we can take this out.
Lead it.
I would maybe just remove it if it's more about fertilizer.
It is about fertilizer, not
Yeah,
water.
I agree. I don't think,
Yeah,
So we'll just take it out. Because I know the WAC is doing a whole water-wise thing,
right.
so,
I think if you say anything, it would be just maybe the first sentence and, any irrigation of lawns after the lawn is established is against town code or something like that.
well, I think we should just take it out.
I would just remove it.
I can blow up the picture.
Well, if your description, well, I guess that'll take over the chart area then.
We got three mowing height, glass clippings, and right grass for the right location.
I mean, you could always add another picture of a nice buffer.
Yeah,
I really think we're missing an opportunity to make the point that I think many homeowners don't necessarily appreciate that, that you're not supposed to water your lawn here unless you just put it in.
okay, do you want to do this? Do you want to take a stab at it?
Well, I mean, there are like requirements if you have drip irrigation, there are requirements for new turf irrigation systems, there's grandfathered turf irrigation systems, so, if you have a cistern, you're allowed to have irrigation. It's, the code itself is more complex than
Yeah.
saying don't water.
So we
your
can't
lawn.
really just say
So
that.
it's hard to say that, but I would recommend using smart technology to manage your irrigation. So that, that's always, and you kind of can't go wrong.
Well,
with that.
that's an easy fix. Excessive shallow watering leads to shallow root growth. Always use the smart, what are they called?
Smart metering.
Yeah, let's see. Find the exact term. I can email it to you too.
Use a smart metering system to water your lawn.
I mean, again.
Well,
We've opened it back
we
up
should
again,
do-
it
We
should just,
should,
And follow all town code,
We
and
should.
follow the town code.
since this is also with the WAC, we should,
Oh God.
yeah, so,
If we take something out, do you have to go back to them?
yeah, we do.
Oh.
I think the irrigation, taking irrigation out when it's really a fertilizer brochure.
I think
It's kind of
Well, it says fertilizer and lawn care.
lawn care.
Yeah, but the lawn cares, the,
Mowing the grass.
Just mowing,
clippings,
composting.
Buffer zones, I feel like you could.
I mean, one thing I can do is, there's another guy on the South Fork who does organic lawns, and I want to add him to the helpful websites. So,
That's a great idea. We can take a little more space, reduce your lawn area over where managed irrigation is and add a whole nother.
yeah,
I think that,
so I can do that.
yeah.
You can think about it, Jerry.
No, I'm fine with that.
You're fine with that?
My first suggestion was take it out.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, I think irrigation's gonna be a whole nother beast that we tackle next.
yes, there may be a whole new brochure about
So.
irrigation.
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll take out that, and I'll let the WSC know. And actually, what I'll do is I have to change some things anyway. There's some mistakes, so I will send out a new draft. Today.
I mean, the back is gonna be printed this way, right?
Yeah, so, oh, here, sorry. I can hand this out. This is what it actually looks like.
Yeah, no, I just sometimes, I didn't know how you were whether you're gonna have it printed by an real printer or.
Yes, it
Okay,
should be
all right.
printed by a real printer.
They will know that.
Oh, so getting to the next question about this fertilizer. Brochure is, would the committee consider funding the printing of this? Stephen Kiley thinks this is a good use of our grant money from the Clean Energies Communities. So we go to InkSpot, and so 500 copies would cost $220. 1,000 copies would cost $335, and 1,500 copies would cost $465. So,
Do you know how many we used in the of this printing?
oh, that, we haven't done it yet.
Oh, I see, this is.
No, this
oh,
is all,
These are samples.
these are all
Oh, oh.
samples.
There was never, there was no precursor, there was no brochure
No,
before this? Okay.
no, this is the first time we've done this.
We have a handle on what our average attendance is at the expo.
Well, these would actually go out before the expo.
Yeah, but just to have some metric as to how many, you're asking how many we should print.
Oh, right. I think my suggestion would be 1,000. Originally,
We'll put them on the table, put them in the building department, we can put them in the assessor's
Sure.
office, we can put them in all the different town buildings and
um,
hand them out.
yes,
in the library.
and I think the other thing I was thinking that some of the associations
Mhm.
have their meetings.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're gonna miss the Heights meeting this weekend, but they have another one in August. Silver Beach has an association meeting in sometime during the summer. Do you know what? Joe?
Actually, next week.
I'll
It's next
donate
week.
this one to the Heights meeting.
I sent it to Stella, just
Good,
to
yeah,
let
for
her
sure.
know.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah,
Just being a part of the green committee, why are we still putting fertilizer on lawns in general?
Okay,
Just
so-
Because it's a larger mandate that
Yeah, I know.
can't get out of, I guess.
here's the other component of this. When we first started meeting with, when we first started doing this, we also met with landscape contractors like Walter Richards. There were two others. And part of it was to get the reality of how people manage their landscapes. And so, yes, I don't have a lawn and I use nothing.
Yeah.
I have a lawn and I still use nothing.
So,
And I have a large lawn and
So-
But you know what? We are quickly learning that the people in this room do not represent the greater, so most people use, we found that most people do use, basically
So-
what most people do is hire someone who uses
yes,
fertilizer.
to manage their properties, and they want to come out on Friday night and see a beautiful lawn. So the reason for this is that when you hire somebody, they should have a license to understand how to properly fertilize the lawn. The other part of it is that several of the landscapers have pointed out they're trying to steer their clients to a more best management practices, sort of steer them that way, which means reducing the amount of fertilizer. Also, they're doing it correctly. So it's just trying to get to the homeowners who are still using this, but maybe we'll flip to the other side and say, oh, I could have a buffer zone, or I could take out part of my lawn and do something different. So it's really, the reality is, as Shardy just said, all of us in the room have a different practice with our landscapes,
Right.
but we're not, that's not the whole island.
You're a sad minority.
So the idea is to try to reach everybody.
That makes sense. All right.
So,
Yeah, it answers the question. I mean, I guess it also, with the contractors that come to the island, they could be just, there's all sorts coming over here. Do they have to be approved to work on the
Well,
island?
we are, I think we decided in that meeting that we would recommend contractors who we know are licensed, and we certainly decided that we would recommend that people use a contractor who's licensed,
well, actually,
but,
we're pretty specific about it.
oh, we are, okay, I'm sorry, I forgot to check that.
All landscapers who apply fertilizer must comply with licensing requirements of Chapter 79, including the possession and display of a valid Suffolk County nitrogen fertilizer management certificate. And they need to have this actually on their presence. Oh, and plus we're also giving this to the landscape contractors to hand out to their clients. Let me just add one last thing, and that is a QR code to make it really easy for people. They just hold their phone up and they get a list of all the landscape contractors and their
Good,
contacts.
okay, that's, yeah.
Is that language that you just read, is that italicized or put in bold? Or is it just part of the,
No, it's part of,
yeah, maybe it should be in bold. I mean, that's a boundary there. You have to have certain licenses to come and operate on this island. That's what it's saying.
right.
And so I think there we can emphasize what the rules are.
Well, I toyed with actually making the whole code section bold, but when I do that,
Oh, it would look awful. You have to just
A,
leave out like
it
one
looks
sentence.
awful, and B, it pushes me way, the space changes completely.
But emphasizing that they need to be licensed to work on this island
It's important.
is, you know, what was that, 2 sentences you read?
Well, can I just tell you, lots of people use unlicensed, so it's, you know, you can't say they have to be licensed to operate on this island. I mean, people do operate on this island. They do
Yes.
not have,
People
they should not
speak.
apply fertilizer if they don't have a license.
Yeah, it's, and I think that that's what the language that you just read said. And
Yeah, I'm
that
just,
much we
I
can,
think if
we can emphasize and even enforce.
maybe if we have next to one of those bullet points, anyone who apply, landscapers who apply, maybe just the landscapers who apply fertilizers must be licensed. Change that first sentence in the
I-
1,
I'm-
2,
Well,
3,
unfortunately,
4.
I'm quoting the actual code.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the problem.
Yeah, so if you're, actually what I
You
changed,
never quote the code, my God. There's a
No.
reason no one reads it.
no, I'm saying the code states, and I've actually bolded that part, it says the code states in the paragraph that starts it. And then all these bullet points are actually directly from the code.
especially the part about licensing,
Because
because
most people are not gonna actually probably go to the code. So I decided I wanna actually put the code in here.
Oh, you should translate the code. You should paraphrase the code.
well, you know,
Hmm.
most people, homeowners, are not gonna read the code. But contractors, if contractors have to be licensed to work on this island, they need to be or are aware of that, okay? Because that goes straight to their business. Okay, and that's why I'm emphasizing that part of it. Okay,
Okay.
yes, people don't read the code.
Oh, I have an idea. I have an idea.
Contractors,
I have an
it's their
idea.
business.
Stop talking. All right, how about under Shelter Island Fertilizer Code, bold the first paragraph and revise it to say, the town code requires landscapers who apply fertilizers to be licensed. The
bingo.
code goes on to state,
Okay, can you send me this?
the town, yes.
Okay,
That's
we'll take a look at that. Okay, so in the meantime,
the people's speech.
What- let's get to the, we'll tweak all this and I'll send it out again. Everybody, including the WAC. Okay, so what do we want to do? Or do we want to fund 1,000 copies to start for 335?
Yes.
You want to do?
People are still using brochures? We'll have this on the website.
It's gonna be on the
we can put this
website,
on the
too.
website,
It'll
right?
be on the website.
It'll be on the website.
Do you think, do people still pick
They
brochures
do,
up?
they
and-
do actually. And I know this because the Community Preservation Fund map of reserve land, we run out of that all the time. So people do pick up brochures. We're not at all online civilization yet. So
Well-
1,000 copies for 335, 1,500 for 465. What do we want to do? What do we
Yeah, I mean,
feel?
the difference, the quantity difference is negligible. We should go with a larger quantity because the price difference between, you know what I'm saying?
They're 335.
It doesn't make sense to
465.
order 500 copies or
No,
400 copies or
no,
whatever. they are.
And how likely is this to change in the next 6 months or a year?
Not much.
So then I'd say at least 1,000, yeah, no?
You want 1,000, you want to do 1,500? It's like between 465 and 335 is $130 or something.
What's left in your budget?
We have the money. So
Okay, so
You guys.
1,500.
Whatever you-
I believe
We-
1,500.
We've had this money for several
the
years.
expression is good for heading in for a
I
farm.
think so. I think that's what it looks like.
So I suggest 1,500 copies. Do I have a motion to accept spending
I
money
so move.
from our grant?
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, great. Done. Okay. Moving on to, how are we doing? Let's reverse Green Expo and E-Tip. We do have to talk about E-Tip, specifically a questionnaire that Kate Kablansky sent out.
Yeah.
I sent all of you, and she really would like answers like this today.
Yeah.
So, but I want to jump ahead to the Green Expo because John is very, very excited about taking over the expo this year.
As a project manager type thing, just kind of PM it. I gotta get myself.
Tim's new favorite.
I go.
He and
He
Charity are,
cracks the whip, so watch out.
so he and Charity are going to sort of work together on this. I will be sort of there to,
I'm just gonna do what he tells me to do.
Charity's already started doing stuff. So, John, do you want to say anything? I mean, I will just add one thing. I'm not just disappearing.
No, you can't.
You're still chairman.
But it's great to have someone else step in. And I really, really think this is a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I was looking for something where I can get involved in, otherwise I'm just voicing.
And he was looking for a project and.
Looking for a project, not that I need more projects tonight.
Yes.
Anytime you need a project, let me know.
Yeah, just a couple of pieces. So we met like in a smaller group the other week, just so I can get my, bearings around what it is, 29 so vendors. I think number one, we want to get our sign kind of adjusted. We're going to change it from the Green Expo to
Oh, yeah.
Shelter Island Environmental Expo.
Shelter Island
And
Environmental Exposition.
Yeah, Expo,
how's that?
Expo.
Expo.
But we're still going to include
The names of
the other entities
organizations.
from the town.
Different organizations,
Yes.
that- yeah.
Yep.
Just the Green Expo is a bit weird.
I mean, we could say environment and community exposition.
No, that's not she.
So,
It's not gonna fit on a bumper sticker.
again, we can still think about this.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
think about it. We have to make.
Go ahead. Okay.
Your time is running out, but you got August, end of
I know,
August.
I know.
already.
You're in charge. I'll shut up.
Okay, so Tim sent me over the full list. I'm gonna put it into a Google Sheet. I already started this morning because I was off yesterday. And it looks like a nice list, right? So I'm breaking it up between town and community, environmental organizations, land and nature, energy. So it'll be a nice mix where people can come and learn. Obviously, we already have the kind of the layout. I guess kind of logistics wise, there is the sign, one sign, got to get it printed, sign off on all that. We have our tents and tables and layouts and who's going where, right? We got to kind of figure that out. It sounds like you already have a plan, but working with the school and the town about what tents are available. And then there is the list of people that are outside of the town organization that one needs to reach out to. So I was just going to go through, don't need to do it here because don't want to take away from the meeting, but I just need to know, who will reach out to
Yeah,
the person as an example.
I will send you the email addresses for the heads of the town committees and for the other town entities. I talked to Mike Dunning, decided to go to the school for something else, and I mentioned again the expo, and they're always helpful with the tables. But if we have more than 20 vendors, we're gonna have to get either outside people have to bring their own tables, which they do sometimes.
Tables or tents?
Well, both, actually.
Oh, uh-huh.
So tables and tents. But if we have, let's say, I did an interview with the Senior Foundation this week for the Living History Project, and they've been going to the farmer's market every Saturday, but they would also like to come to the expo.
Yeah, sure.
So we're gonna have people like them, if EMS wants to come, this seniors services wants to come.
Yeah.
All of these folks will have a tent of their own. I don't know that, we should start asking. when
Yeah, we
invite
need
people.
to start reaching out to all these people and see if they have tents, to see if we have to buy more tents, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, right. And I shouldn't have told these heat pump providers that we would provide them with a tent and water. I should have said, we're gonna put you out on a flat rock
Just email
and let
me.
the vultures have at you.
Just sort of, if you hear back from them, whoever you hear back from, just say that actually
There's no tent.
you need to bring a tent and a table.
Okay. Just hoping to lure them.
So yes, anybody you reach out to, John,
Yeah. So
they-
the two big ones that are kind of outside, obviously we have things like the Cornell Cooperative, your Dunkster person. I mean, I feel like there's different tiers of who's coming, right, and what they're able to produce and show. Kind of the big guys is really like the solar and the heat pumps, and you mentioned PS&G as a potential option. But that's going to require a little bit more table size. They might have a product demo.
They actually usually, it depends on what the product is.
But with the heat pump, I think, because that's such a of the moment conversation, people are like, what is it? What does it look like?
Yeah, I asked them to bring examples.
Yeah.
Um,
And I could like unroot the one I have from the house, but they could, if they could bring that, I think it's obvious with solar, we don't need to look at a solar panel or a battery or anything like that. But I think with heat pumps, there's a lot of
I
unknown.
agree, and I think that they can be accommodated under, in a tent, but you'd have to have one tent for each
Yeah.
supplier, but we put them in the, in the heat pump solar ghetto and,
Well, yeah,
they can be
again,
together.
again,
if they'll tolerate it.
sometimes they don't want to be together.
Well, the reason I sent the email to all four of them, and these are the
they know.
PSEG recommended
Right. So they know that they're all being
suppliers who are
reached out to.
within 50 miles.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So that's why I sent it to all of them. They have to understand that it's,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that's why would that?
Sometimes they have their own displays and stuff.
Yes.
They've done this before,
Yes.
they have.
Also, I think it's fine if there's some feeling of, oh, well, if Flanders got it, I better go too.
Yeah.
This is a marketing opportunity.
Yes, it's a marketing opportunity.
it's-
I
Ten
think
bets
that,
for you.
we're not just gonna invite one and put them up on a pedestal. There will be a group and I think
Okay.
they'll be fine with that.
All right. You're a short jump stand now.
So I'm going to need your help with that. Obviously, the names and contacts of all these people
Okay.
and who's
Yes,
reaching
I
out.
will do all that.
Yeah. So
Then,
let's-
and then what we'll do is you can organize it however you want to do it. And
Yeah.
then we're going to send the list out to everybody. I mean, in the committee,
yeah.
so they all see.
Okay, so just moving on from that. So I'd like to give myself like say in the next 10 days, we'll have this list finalized, all the
Yes.
contacts in there, and everybody knows their job and who's contacting whom. And then the other part of it was, which we talked a little bit about, is ever since the lady dialed into our call that day about, what the Green, Options Committee does,
Oh.
I was going to finish my little whiteboarding kind of circle of life thing,
Mhm.
and maybe circulate that, and maybe that can be printed and just like, what does the Green Options Committee do? What are you guys involved with? Because it's interesting when you start talking about, EMS, senior center, soil, earth. I mean, it's a part of this whole ecosystem of Shelter Island, right? And it's like they all connect somehow together. And, what we're doing is advising and bringing knowledge to that little circle. And I was like, I wanted to kind of finish it and have everybody kind of comment on it. And then, maybe like a month before we can get it printed and it could be on our little table so people can be educated, like, what do you guys do?
No, I mean, because some of the other, like the
What thing we do.
Community Preservation Fund, when they have their table, it does explain what they do.
Right.
Some of the others are more self-explanatory.
Yes.
And some have sort of special things for the event.
Good.
Yeah,
Like
so-
the water advisory committee sometimes has water test kits available.
Yeah, but it has one of those. So the only thing that timeline wise in the past, when have you kind of finalized your sign, and when does that go to print, and who prints that?
Well, so you're going to reach out to everybody. You're going to either hear back from people or you're not going to hear back from people. You can always reach out again. And if they absolutely don't respond, I could just sort of cross them off the list.
Or you mean approving the sign, you mean?
So you know, usually sometimes like for the reporter ad, it can literally be up to the day before the reporter ad is due that I'm still chasing down people to make sure, because sometimes someone says, oh yeah, I'm coming, and then I don't hear back from them, and I call again and say, oh no, we actually can't come.
Oh, I see. So you got like more of an advertising thing. I was thinking just more for the street sign, like does that have to go to print?
It's true, well, those signs are actually are kept deliberately general and vague. So they can be reused every year. So it's just, you know, green, if we change the name,
Change the name.
we're gonna change the name. But there is a way I can reuse the old signs and try, you can get stickers, Green Spot will print out a sticker. And you put that over the old name, and then I just change the date, although the location's gonna change too. We may end up having to redo
Yeah, a new sign.
signs. You know, it's just, I hate, because you can't recycle that material.
Oh, it's foam board?
It's well, it's not the foam board, it's the outdoor board, whatever it's called.
Oh,
Billboard. Okay.
Anyway,
we'll have to hire someone to embroider it.
Okay, but we can do that, and those again are general, because it's just name, location, date, so that's easy.
Cool.
It's really more the reporter ad
All right.
that, and
That makes
and
sense.
then we also put on the town Facebook, Instagram, and the town website. So that information, try to get as accurate as possible, and that's just really who's coming.
And don't count on that ad for next year.
I know,
I
so.
know. Okay, so, Steve, I think you mentioned you were going to talk to the guy at Green Logic.
I did, and he didn't respond, but I'm happy to reach out to him again, or maybe Jonathan will shoot him
Okay,
I think we're gonna sign. We can't, you know, we divvy up, but I think, you know, just,
right.
and if there's no one at Green Logic, we can.
Green Logic has not come for several years. They don't even respond to me anymore. So, Meg, do you think we should bring in the IACE system? People have not
Not in competition.
responded also. Do you think we should reach out to them again?
We can try. I know that the industry itself is pretty busy and there's a lot going on.
Yeah, they
so
just don't.
at this point, I feel like they feel established, so they don't.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't think we,
So I do think, we talked a little bit about the need to do some outreach to local businesses about, you know, when they do renovations or, you know, considering putting in heat pumps and so I went over and introduced myself to the new folks at Opties and Dingies, which is not a new place. They were in Orient for many years, but they did just renovate Bob's Seafood, and they did a magnificent job.
right, nice.
They installed heat pumps. They reused almost everything that was there, which you cannot believe. When you walk in, I was just like, it's like a really spiffy version of
It
Bob's.
was.
I mean, everything is in the same place. They didn't replace the floor. It's a very, very impressive and conservative renovation that was done with with environmental concerns in mind. So I talked to him about whether he'd be interested in coming to the green options and just talking about how they renovated and what they did. And he said that he thought that would be great. I mean, obviously, they're a new business. So I'm sure he sees some advantage in that. I don't know, I left it open with him. I didn't give him the date. I just said, this is something you'd consider. So that doesn't mean we have to do it. But I really like the idea, and I would like it even more if we could find another business or two on the island, or maybe just one, that, has done something similar or is contemplating doing something similar. Because I don't want, not everybody, you don't want to elevate one above the others. And this is not a situation, I think, where we can really ask a lot of people, because there's so few places that have done this.
Because we have one.
Like, I can't name another one. You know what? Aces has solar panels. The hardware store has solar panels. Maybe they would.
Yeah, they usually don't have time to, so many years ago, I said, would you like to come and sort of show some of the products you have? And they just, they can't spare people to come.
Yeah, well, this is a little different.
Yeah, I think we probably would have to reach out to other businesses so that we're not seemingly elevating one or the other.
Well, so why don't I go talk to Meredith and see if that's something that, they could send, they could send, it doesn't have to be Meredith, it could be, just someone who is close enough to what they did that they could talk about it. Because it's not really about their product.
No,
it's-
I know, it's just a perception, so I think, like without just digging, they'd have to be really clear about who you're framing it, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of, recently renovated, wasn't that restaurant that just opened, Leon or
Leon,
something like
yeah.
that? That was a gut renovation of a bank building.
Yeah.
So it'd be
I
interesting
would
to
not
know.
argue that was, they must have, their HVAC system must have been $1 million just that. They do open hearth cooking. I think they would be a tough, I'm not sure they would pass muster as a,
Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Yeah, because that was.
it is unfortunate. Oh, I see, you're not talking about as a model, you're talking about as
We don't.
a whipping boy.
No, we're not.
No, we can't do that.
No, we're not, let's not get into other businesses, what we think.
Yeah, I would stick to organizations and education that way.
So not invite any businesses.
And I mean, I think obviously
Writing one,
to
this is
talk
not-
about a renovation isn't quite the same as having, a heat pump company or PSE&G, it's a little different.
Just- Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I heard, I recently, I guess it's a couple of years now, did a heat pump installation at my house. Okay, heat pump and air conditioning.
Right,
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at the last ETIP meeting, it was said that there were only
Two.
two, including mine.
Well, I guess John
yeah,
too.
but John has one too.
Any of the- that's it.
Yeah, so
That is a lot
I
of
was gobsmacked
Yeah.
to hear that, and,
I don't think we're sure that's accurate. I don't know how the data.
well, we can certainly find that out. They would have had to have been permitted.
Oh, they would?
Yes,
Okay, well, then there are two. And you have them.
well, we can confirm
This
that,
information
but
was
they
from
would have to have
PSE&G.
been permitted by the town and probably even by PSE&G. Okay, I had my solar energy system permitted by PSE&G. You can't just,
Okay, okay, I don't
we
want,
know,
I don't want to jump in here, but we got to move along.
okay?
We got to answer these ETIP questions. Okay, everybody have them in front? Okay, so these are for the cohort 3, for the next cohort 3 meeting, for everybody meeting. I don't think we can necessarily answer all these questions because we don't really know, but
I'm not sure they're all ours to answer.
correct. And so we can just go through these and see what we come up with. So which ownership models, approaches are you exploring? Select all that apply.
The emphasis for what specifically, for solar?
It's a town.
Solar,
Say,
This is for solar only?
I think it's one, right?
yeah, that's what I was gonna do. For number 2, do you need information on estimating project capital development and operation and maintenance costs? Yes, please.
yep.
So yes.
Funding,
Okay, we're only talking about solar?
well, let me see.
Well, I'm not quite sure exactly what we're talking
Yeah, I
about.
know, it's a little
Yeah.
bit, actually.
There are. Yeah, solar is one thing, battery storage is another thing. Could be utility
Well,
owned.
so for state grants would be solar, right?
Well, I mean, for any of this, we would always look for grant money, state money.
First, right.
We'd always look for grants first.
All right, so 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
So actually Christina gave a very detailed. So for one, she said, Yes, assume these are separate ownership models. Third-party ownership possibly, I think this refers to leasing arrangement, which could happen because then the town gets a certain amount of money for that arrangement.
Yeah, you find the service.
See what was available.
Uh, Okay. Anyway, so number 2, yes, so for funding, federal grants, you said yes, federal loans possibly, state grants, yes, state loans possibly. Municipal revolving loan, yes. Goodness. So federal grants, yes,
Yes.
we're not interested in loans, right?
It depends on the scope of the project.
So-
Get better financing.
So possibly,
Bonding, I don't know,
possibly,
I would say possibly.
okay. State grants, yes. State loans, possibly. Municipal revolving loan fund, wait, no, that is, okay, possibly.
These are all
Christina said yes.
from around the country.
Right.
Energy services contract. She said possibly, I don't know what that is.
It's like a third-party supplier.
So do you think possibly?
Possibly.
Let's see what the terms are. These are obviously,
I know.
to me, these are possibilities from around the country.
I know,
Yeah,
I know,
these are all different.
I know. Again, it's the cohort 3, so it's, as you just said, it's everywhere.
Yeah, so
Okay, tax
we're
equity,
open to other, ways to skin the cat.
tax equity investment, I have no idea.
Use of terms.
Third-party power purchase agreement.
Depends on the technology.
So her answer is, I think for Shelter Island, we would be interested in getting information from NREL on community choice aggregation, although we can get that from Lynn.
Right.
Analysis from them might help bolster the case for this. So possibly,
Possibly.
utility financing. So possibly,
Possibly.
At a rate than where we can get it from
And-
somewhere else, you know what I mean? We
Right.
have options as a municipality.
federal clean energy tax credits. I don't think this is her answer, I don't think this would apply to the town as we don't pay
No.
taxes.
Right.
So no,
Not applicable.
not applicable.
For the town, but we might be promoting this
For the
to
residents.
individuals.
Yeah.
This is why these questions are not clear to me.
Okay, so not applicable for the town,
Right.
but could be for residents.
Mhm. Yes.
Could be. Okay. What funding sources may be providing for future projects that would be helpful for you to learn about? So local, tribal government. Private business, public institution. Christina said, I don't have enough information about this question to
Yeah,
respond.
it's kind of a big question,
Yes.
you know?
On bad question, I don't really know how we answer this.
Yeah, some of these
Well,
are.
this is for all of cohort 3. So other islands, other governments, town governments might have some, ideas that we're not aware of or can't conceive of. So we're certainly interested in hearing what others are doing.
Oh, so that's what this question is about. What do we
That's the
not
way I'm reading it.
do, that we might embrace in the future?
Yeah.
So maybe.
Oh, so
public
community,
Institutions and community-based organizations.
yeah.
So community-based
I'm
organization,
interested in hearing. Isn't this about planning this lunch and learn thing?
So here it has other, please specify. So do you want to specify,
Menu for that lunch and learn?
do we want to specify? I mean, we want to learn what's out there, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I'd be interested, I don't know if there are co-op models for any of these, but I don't know. Maybe that's under community-based.
That's what I was kind of thinking.
So would be interested in funding sources. That we're unaware of, I don't know.
Yeah, and other business models
Yeah.
for these kinds of activities, programs and
Funding sources.
This
technologies.
is probably beyond just, this is beyond just solar. I mean, I always
Yeah.
think about food co-op as an interesting possibility for Shelter Island because we have one grocery store that
Yeah.
is
Well, there used to be co-op here back in
a
a
food co-op.
while ago.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Maybe.
You're kidding.
Yeah, it was like a small group of people who got together and they would bring, they would bring things in and then they distributed them amongst themselves.
Okay. So I'm gonna put in
Were you a
other,
member?
I was like 8 at the time. But my mom was. But yeah, it was a while ago.
Oh, I should talk to her.
Yeah.
okay, so for other, we would be interested in learning about other funding sources and business models. Is that covered?
I think so.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the lunch and learn.
Okay.
That's the learn part.
And then going back to the question before, the tax and equity investment. I don't know what, I have no knowledge of, I don't know. It's not something I had any knowledge of, so.
Which question are we looking at?
It's question 7 in 3.
Oh,
Equity investment.
Yeah, that.
That's a new one on me.
Yeah, get tax equity, not investing it.
Sounds like a loophole. But I'm interested.
I'm curious.
Yes,
what
Okay.
about, what is that?
Yeah.
New
Okay,
hedge fund?
yeah, right.
what is this? I'll phrase that slightly differently. Okay, and then just going back to number 1 again. So we're doing community-private ownership, for which models, approaches are you exploring? Third-party ownership would be a leasing arrangement. I think we do want to look at that. Joint ownership. Maybe,
Maybe,
okay, possibly.
yeah.
Utility owned,
Possibly, maybe.
I mean, I think we're kind of open to looking at all of it and exploring all of it. We aren't
Yes.
set on any one
And
thing.
then the industry,
We're unique. Who knows
this is
more?
constantly evolving.
no, I know, but I just want to, for the sake of
Discussion.
Clarity, yeah.
discussion, I just want to send something to Kate, which she really, really wants quickly. Okay, I think we did all this. For federal grants, yes. Federal loans, possibly state grants, yes. State loans, possibly municipal revolving fund, possibly energy services contract, possibly tax equity. What is this? But I'll phrase that differently. Third-party power purchase agreement, possibly utility financing, possibly federal clean energy tax credit, not applicable for the town, but could be for residents. Okay?
Good.
Okay, good, thank you.
Great.
Okay, any other, so with ETIP, they have most of the data. The only data they're missing is the fire department. And I'm going to, I actually wrote a whole nice explanation for the school board of what the ETIP program is. I'm just gonna send that to Mike. Then I'm gonna offer to come to their board meeting on the 25th. And hopefully that will solve
Have you
everything.
been on Miss Rehearsal?
Uh,
You've been in Miss Rehearsal?
well, maybe,
Tim, you've done a lot, thank you.
hopefully not, hopefully not. Anyway, I mean, it may not be necessary for me to go anyway, but I,
If you might be able to just read the letter and say yea or nay, then.
because the paragraph I'm sending is really explains the whole thing very clearly.
I think it's amazing that you were able to assemble all this stuff.
Which,
All this data that you got, that you pulled together
oh, well,
for ETIP, that's great.
well, I mean, for the PSEG just supplies it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you had.
Robert.
Robert did us a great favor because he went through all the fuel bills for each year and pulled out just the ones for the buildings that we needed,
That's great,
which saved,
It's quite static.
yeah, which saved
I
me,
bet,
it saved me a lot of time.
yeah.
Because the last time I did it, I had to go through all the bills. So Robert did us a great favor.
And we're gonna learn so much from this.
We are.
Wish we could have answered these questions after we saw the analysis.
So I don't know, does anybody else have anything to offer on ETIP? Okay, so we're meeting next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And anybody, we've covered everything on the agenda. Yeah, we have. So anybody have anything else they want to bring up?
The ETIP people, we talked a little bit about at the expo, instead of
Oh.
PSG, would all this work that's going on here, I mean, is it worth like a little update of what they are, what we're doing?
Okay, so actually, at some point, two things I think should happen. One is, I think the Green Committee should address the town board. When we have a better, when we're going through either we should wait till we've reached the re-opt analysis is done, and we have an inkling of what we're gonna do.
Right.
We can address the town board at a Tuesday meeting with a slide presentation and explain where we are and what we're doing. And then certainly for the expo, we can have a whole display about the ETIP process and where we are and what it means and all of that.
And they had a nice process slide,
Yes, it will be like
like a little linear runway.
a linear runway. Exactly. That's how I like to do it.
Can we have photos? Can we name sites? No.
I think, sure. I mean, because they all know. Why not?
I think it's important to do that. I think people need to see, what, they need to see something other
Yeah.
than words.
No, absolutely. I mean, if for the school, they're recommending solar on the roof and the carport, we can put together something that shows that. Or for the firehouse, solar on the roof and,
And we should be prepared to talk outside the box too, at some point.
to do, wow,
Do what? Outside the box?
yeah.
Okay. Things like battery energy storage, larger scale. I know we briefly discussed tidal, okay, and yes, for right now, it does not appear that that technology, is a go.
Mhm.
But I think that if we're talking about resilience and not just reliability is what's happening now. Resilience is what's happening down the road. If we're talking about the next 5 to 10 years, that's going to happen like that. Okay, and some of these technologies are beginning to come up on the horizon in different areas for different reasons. So at some point, I'd like to see, and that's part of what I wrote to you already, and to engage in that discussion, okay, so that we're actually, not just engaged, but leading that discussion for the town, because I think that's what is part of what we're expected to do. And, I don't want to get into Pollyanna, but, in my 50-year career, I've seen stuff, come along that's now just, plug in. Okay, so 5 or 10 years is not a very long time. And so we just need to make sure that we're thinking broadly and to some extent thinking outside the box, not unrealistically, but once we've gone through this re-opt and we've looked at and answered the questions and begun to implement, I don't want to make a speech here, but begun to implement, the kinds of measures that they're recommending, that we're talking about funding now, okay? We're looking even beyond that, over the,
I think though, Steve, that was part of our, the whole, when we were deciding what places to focus on, we wanted to make sure that we weren't just focusing on what you're saying, but also looking ahead down the
Mhm.
road. And they are gonna do a title thing, so I think, in the steps, we're doing the re-op, and then we're going into the next thing, which is, what about the future?
I said this, what I said in part because the next ETIP meeting is about title. And, I hate to just, we discussed it briefly and we did say, we're not getting into this right now, but right now it's not gonna last a very long time, so.
We didn't say that we weren't going to discuss it. We said that we didn't
not gonna
see
get
it as
into
an
it.
immediate implementation.
Right.
We're not ready to start
Ready for plug and play.
putting out
Agreed.
RFPs.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think we're doing two things at once here, we're
Yeah.
doing things that we can do.
I think we're doing exactly
And then
what
we're,
you
and then we're,
suggest.
and then we're looking in the future.
I just,
No, every time I take the South Ferry, that's what,
he's amazing. Yeah.
so, I don't know, I think we're doing both, but I think, anyway, I think,
Okay.
they have a sort of a roadmap for how we're gonna do these things.
I do wonder when we present to the town board, maybe this isn't for the expo, but when we do talk to the town board, I think we should be prepared to address a couple of places where we're seeing town code that doesn't necessarily support these kinds of
Mhm.
projects. So we should, I'm not necessarily advocating for, that we propose an immediate change of this, but we need to put the town board on alert that this geothermal thing, that needs to be examined.
Or ground mount solar.
Or
Ground mount
battery,
solar.
or battery energy.
Battery storage, that these are things that, that we need everybody in government to be informed on properly, and that there has been misinformation in the past and things have changed and,
Technology's evolved.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, good point.
And bring not only the town board along, but also, the general population.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
I think we need to start with the town board because, the misinformation was rampant, and that's, we have to make sure that our leaders at least are clear on this.
Mhm.
And sometimes there are people on the town board who are purveyors of this misinformation. I'm not looking at you, by the way, Meg, I'm
Oh, I
just
know.
looking at you for moral support, not.
But also, this is where the communication part.
Yes,
Right,
Yeah.
so essential.
I think again, as we get a little further along, like a couple months in this process, and have a better idea of what we're looking at, then we can start sort of reaching out and communicating more. Saying this is what we're doing, this is where it's leading us.
And by the way, one of the good ways around that, what you just described, that bow wake of institutional bow wake, is to get the population, to get the people behind.
Mhm.
Okay, let the people get out ahead of, those institutional barriers, and then those institutional barriers will evolve.
But I mean, for instance, you're a good example of what you can do. Obviously, you don't have this gigantic home like some people do, but which we discussed at the meeting, how we have, different sized homes here, but the point is, you're an example of what you can do. So,
And I sent that along to Kate, and
right,
she's gonna make a,
model.
and my neighbor over here is
That's right.
apparently the only other.
Heat pump number 2.
So, anyway, but I think,
PV with the heat pump? No. Okay.
but I think as we move along, it's just, again, communication,
Yeah.
town board, residents, the whole kit and caboodle, and we'll just have, that's part of this whole process of what we're doing. So,
Education.
okay, anybody have it?
Well, you know,
Yeah, I know, okay, thank you, okay, bye.
Thanks, Mike.
Anybody have anything else? No. I make a motion to, oh, sorry. Elise, I'm sorry. Do you have any questions for us?
Of course I do. Real quick, I'm sorry. Morning, guys. I noticed that Sylvester Manor is now doing composting. I don't know if they were
Yes.
doing it last year, but that's
They
great.
were.
I wondered if you guys would coordinate with them at all. My question was, because I'm gonna be in the island in a couple of weeks, was whether or not the restaurants were participating with that.
I think that's a question for them.
Yeah.
But in terms
The
of,
restaurant question is for them.
yeah, the restaurant question is for them.
Yeah.
However, the Green Committee question, we can answer. Last year, we used some grant money that we had to purchase 100 buckets to, because they had their CSA is doing the composting there, but they wanted to expand the program to include town residents who are not involved with their CSA program. So we contributed money from a grant we had so that residents could buy buckets,
Yeah.
so that we could expand their program.
And it ran all winter, and I participated in it all winter. And I will tell you that so many other residents were participating that sometimes when I went to dump my compost, even, it would be 4 degrees outside or whatever, the bins were often quite full. So people were
Good.
really availing themselves of it all winter long.
Well, good. I mean, if I was there all year long, when I retire, I will have my own compost pile. But in the interim, I do have a small one, but it doesn't serve any purpose because it's not enough stuff that goes in. But my question was, salt is right down the block from us. I'm wondering if Keith and Ally are participating in any of that. I'm sure a lot of food waste goes through all the restaurants,
Yeah.
especially the summer.
Well, the issue is, at least, that only one place is sort of taking food scraps right now. We don't have something at our recycling center for a
Yeah,
variety of reasons.
yeah.
So it really is that. And by the way, they expanded the program beyond the 100 buckets that we donated to anybody could bring food scraps. It didn't matter what bucket they brought.
Okay.
There, and also Elise, the Sylvester Manor program, as you probably remember, is no meat, no
Yeah.
dairy,
Well, yeah.
no stickers.
Yeah.
And these are difficult things for restaurants to,
Well, yeah, but I want to have that conversation.
We really need a municipal program
Yeah.
in order to efficiently recycle do compost from restaurants. It's too much for Sylvester Manor to handle. They can't.
No, I agree. And again, if I was there, I would be taking my truck and picking it up myself. But anyway, I just wanted to know, I didn't want to step on your toes if I happened to talk to anybody.
No.
Yeah, we'd love for you to get more involved.
Okay, cool.
Things like that.
Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to say was,
sorry.
thank you very much for contributing the money for the pamphlets for the water authority. I was on that Zoom call the other day and they were putting together how many pamphlets they want to send out. And they said that you guys had contributed the money. So that was great.
Okay, great.
All right, that
Thanks,
was it.
Elise.
Great, okay.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you for
All right,
listening,
bye.
being active listener. Okay, I make a motion to bring the meeting to a close.
I second that emotion.
All in favor? Okay, thank you all.
Should we already had 4